if a camera crew followed you around, would they assume that you were serious about your goals? Would they look at the actions and choices that you were making and go, this man's serious? There is zero chance this man is not reaching his goals, his fitness, his relationships, his financial, his life goals. He's doing everything that's required. He is absolutely fucking serious. And this shit's getting done. Or would it leave something to the imagination? Would there be questions about your commitment, about your follow-through, about, well, what truly matters to you? You know, if they sat down at the start and you said, here are the 3 things that matter most to me in my life. Here are the 3 things that I'm chasing. Here are the 3 things that I am most dedicated to. After a week of following you around, they'd be like, would they agree with those statements? Would they be like, fuck yeah, like to a T? Or would there be questions? Would there be questions around your commitment? Would there be questions around, well, your work ethic? Or if you just fucking talk? And I think a lot of these, you know, the hypotheticals, like these, they give you a form of perspective. Because, well, even for myself, I'd like to think I am a very dedicated, disciplined man. And yet when I ran this hypothetical, when I ran this thought process, I was like, in some areas, fucking A. Unquestionably. Like, you could look at my actions and go, yes. In terms of exercise, in terms of discipline around that, in terms of nutrition, in terms of follow through, in terms of water, in terms of those kinds of things, unquestionably, I am hitting my goals on that. He is doing the work. He is as he presents himself to be. In some of, as we've been discussing, the other areas, well, maybe there's more to be desired there, like sleep, like the recovery side of things. Maybe there's more I could be doing on that front. In fact, not even maybe. When I sat down and actually looked at it, I was like, fuck. Yeah, I can be and should be doing better. Look, there are some things that are outside of my control with my sleep, as we've been discussing the last few days. Some of that is not within my control. Some of that is beyond the scope of what I'm able to dictate. And that's due to a condition I have, which is EDS. I'm currently in a phase of full-blown insomnia. But am I doing everything within my power to correct that? Am I doing everything within my power to look after that? Am I doing and taking control of the things that I can control in that area to maximize it? Well, the answer is a resounding no. I'm just frustrated in the fact that I'm not getting sleep. And as I've said many, many times, a lot of these ones are about, well, just sharing the information that I need to get out there as well, and hoping that it helps you. Because all of those sleep ones were, well, a really strong fucking reminder to myself that it's really, really fucking important. That sleep, that recovery is hugely important to your results, to your discipline, to your focus, to how you show up, all that kind of stuff. And if you're not maximizing it, well, shit, you're leaving stuff on the table. And legitimately, I think I am, on a physique level alone, I think that's probably the last thing. I think it's the bit that's holding me back, especially with the last little bit of fat around my stomach. I think it's probably the sleep and recovery is a massive factor. I am not getting enough recovery to really optimize that level. So it's something that I need to look at. I need to have these little thought experiments to give you and myself true reflection on these things, to see if I could be doing more, and I could be doing more. Same with, business. If I told you how much that stuff mattered to me, my actions are not matching my words in that area. I know we've spoken about it many times before, and it's the problem with a lot of it, because life gets fucking comfortable. My life's pretty fucking great, but it's not where I want to be. It's not everything I want and desire and hope to be, but it's still pretty fucking great. And it makes it really hard to go those extra miles when you're not feeling your best, when you haven't looked after yourself. Coming back to that sleep one, coming back to that sleep debt, coming back to that I'm fucking tired. So no, I'm not following through in the way that I should. I'm not following through on other areas of my life as I know I should. And it's always hard to have those conversations with myself, let alone on here as well. But it's one of those things that I always wanted, to share the truth on this. To share what's actually happening. Not to be another one of those, people on the internet who are like, look how fantastic my life is. Look how perfect it is. You just need to work harder. You need to do more. You need to be more. Of course there is a factor of that, but it's not a linear fucking path. It's not like you just wake up and be like, oh shit, well, I need to work harder. Well, no, there are going to be ups and downs. There are going to be, life's going to throw fucking curveballs at you. There are going to be times in life where it's just fucking hard. Like, I had the one today where I got to the end of training my clients in about 5 hours of sessions, and I was like, all I want to do right now is go the fuck home and spend time with my babies. I don't want to bar off this work. I don't want to deal with, the other stuff that needs to be done. I don't want to have to chase sales. I don't want to have to do that kind of stuff. But that's the kind of stuff that is required so that I can continue to live this life that I have. It is the stuff that is required so that I can continue to have the freedom to go home in the middle of the day and spend 3 or 4 hours with my kids, to spend that time with my wife, to legitimately just sit down and be present with them. I have to do the work at the other ends of the spectrum and the other ends of the time so that I have that freedom and ability. That is a gift and a blessing, one that will disappear if I choose to neglect the work, if I keep choosing to not do what is required. And it's why I wanted to cover the whole sleep thing for the last couple of days, because, this shit is hard. And whether it's around work, whether it's around exercise, whether it's about nutrition, whether it's about making those choices, about becoming that man, whether it's chasing greatness, or in whatever variation that looks like for you, it's fucking hard. And you don't want to handicap yourself in any capacity. You want to be showing up with your full faculties, with the highest levels you can. So you want your willpower to be at its highest level. It's going to be strained anyway. It's going to be taxing anyway. So you want to show up as the best version of yourself. It's going to be difficult. So you need to make sure that you are doing the things that will make sure that you're not showing up tired and drained from it. So that if the camera crew did come around and did start following you, that they would believe you that you were serious about your goals. Then they would believe that you're a man dedicated to these things. But if you're trying to ride that wave and do it purely on willpower, that ship's going to sink at some point. It's going to come to crashing halt eventually, because your willpower will tap out. That's why we need discipline. That's why we need a zero-choice mentality. That's why we need to look after things like sleep and recovery. That's why we need to limit the options to be derailed. That's why we need to set up into situations and build habitual patterns that are going to lead us towards the right outcome. Because you can't just fucking raw dog completely changing every area of your life. It just doesn't work that way. And it doesn't matter how disciplined and focused and driven you are, at some point there will be obstacles in your way that will try and derail you from that. And so you need to build in, for lack of a better term, safety nets and, contingencies of willpower and things to give you the opportunity when shit hits the fan to keep moving forward, to keep doing the work, to keep doing what is required. Because it isn't all sunshine and rainbows. It isn't just easy. It isn't just show up and, here I am, a great physique and the great life and living everything I want with great discipline and focus and drive. No, it's a pendulum and it's an up and down and, it's not a linear process. It's constant readjustments and learning and adapting and dealing with the obstacles that are thrown at you and then still overcoming and choosing the things that matter most to you. Like, I've spoken about it before and I keep coming back to it on this one, and it applies to this one. So not only is it you've got a film crew following you around, but are you living up to the man you say you are? So if your children watch this, would they be proud of their father? Would they be proud of the choices that you're making? Or would it highlight that you aren't that serious about your goals? You aren't that serious about being the man that you said you would be for them. You aren't that serious about sacrificing short term for their long term. If they saw it, would they be like, man, my dad's fucking amazing, look at that guy? Or would it scream to them that, well, dad's comfort in the moment is more important to him than our success, than our happiness, than our long-term fulfillment? Because I don't know about you, but that, just the fucking notion of that hurts. And yet, I think as a reality, that's where the majority of us are. And the question becomes to what degree? Like, what level are we compensating in this? Are you rocking in at 80%? Look, that's pretty good. And I would still encourage you, and I'm encouraging myself, I'm talking to myself here, that needs to be more. You need to dial it in more. And more often than not, be dialed in. Because, well, those kids didn't choose this life, but you did. You chose to have them. You chose to bring them into this world. You chose to do this. So now it is your fucking duty, honor, and obligation to make sure that you're showing up as the greatest possible version of yourself in all areas for them. But, keep pushing forward on that. But if you're showing up at like 10% or 20%, you need to get your head out of your ass. You need to stop, circle jerking and actually get into doing something that's going to matter. Get into doing the work for them. It's one I really struggle to truly put into words how much I feel about this one. That for your kids, well, there shouldn't be a price that's too high that you're willing to pay for them. For their happiness, for their success, for their fulfillment. There shouldn't be anything that is too high that you aren't willing to do. And I talk to a lot of fathers. I talk to a lot of them about this, and they're like, absolutely, my kid's my world. They're everything. I would do anything for them. I would lead by example. But it's all fucking talk. It's all just words. We don't even need the film crew to follow you around to identify that that's absolute fucking bullshit. We don't need to even go down that line. We can just look at your life and go, oh, well, that's bullshit. That's all talk. You can't even show up as the best version of yourself in any areas of your life. And yeah, I had a discussion with a guy the other day, and he's like, that's a really harsh black and white view of it. And I was like, you're damn fucking right it is. But I think it's in a response to, well, most of the world is fucking soft and selfish. I think it's about time that we had a more harsh and black and white view on it. Because I think so much of us, myself included, and I will openly, hand up, first to own it, be honest that if we're given an inch, we'll take a mile. If we're given a grey zone, we'll play all out in the fucking grey zone. That's why there is no ifs or buts in the way that I design my program. In Chasing Greatness, there is no grey zone. Here is what's fucking happening. End of story. Because so often we get into the grey zone and we abuse the fucking shit out of that grey zone. We get given an inch and we'll take a goddamn mile. So I think it's more important that we start playing out in the black and whites, that we make it really fucking concrete. There is no exceptions to the rules. There is no days off. There is nothing else. There is just here and now and the work. And look, if you build to the point where you feel your life is beyond reproach, that it's so fucking perfect that you're like, I think I can dial it back a little bit. I think I can give myself a little bit of leeway. Then fan-fucking-tastic. Proud of you. That's awesome. But I think for the majority of people, we have tried soft and gentle. We have tried caring and loving, and, you know, you are perfect just the way you are, and let's hold our baby's hands and we'll guide you through the whole thing. And proof is in the pudding that you haven't lived up to that. You haven't done the work. You haven't done what is required. You want to take the soft way out. You want to sedate. You want to avoid the world. You want to avoid doing what is fucking required. You want easy and comfortable. And your life shows it. And you're setting your kids' lives up to show that. Or we could make it really fucking black and white, and we could make it real crystal clear. And every time that you aren't measuring up to that, and every time you fall short of that, we hold up a mirror to that, and we push for greatness, and we push for potentially what is impossible and what seems implausible, and we push for something that probably won't ever be fucking attained. But who you become in the pursuit of something that difficult, in the pursuit of something so full on and so taxing, is worth its weight in gold. So we can start here, and then you do get the film crew to follow you around, and they go, holy fuck, look at this man. Look at this man as an inspiration. That might just be an inspiration to your kids, but to be honest, isn't that enough? Isn't that more than enough? If you were the greatest inspiration to your children, and they grew up and they figured you the fuck out, and they were like, shit, Dad was even better than we thought he was growing up. Don't you think that's worth it? Don't you think finding out what your human potential could be for you, for your children, for your partner, don't you think that would be enough? Don't you think that would be worth it? To see who you can become on the other side of just doing the work, doing what is required, sacrificing cheap dopamine, sacrificing the unimportant right here and now to see what your greatness could look like on the other side. And as I said, this ain't a linear fucking path. I am about to hit a year of doing this. And there are ups and downs, left, right, and center. There are constantly new challenges to overcome. There are constantly new things to learn, and I'm learning about myself, and I've got to keep reevaluating and keep pushing forward and make sure that just because I've achieved something decent in this area that I don't let off the gas in the other areas, or whatever it might be. It's a constant process forward. But it's worth it. It's worth it to just keep figuring out who I am, to keep evolving into the best version of myself, to keep pushing forward so that I can look back at the end of my life and go, yeah, I did lead the best possible fucking life for my children. And I left it all out there, that I gave it my all, that I did everything I could. And I don't think there was much more I could give for them. And even if nothing else comes from that, even if nothing else comes from that, and I don't ever reach what I think I should reach, but I can leave it all out there and know that I did leave it all out there, that I gave it my all, that I did the work, well, that's a life well lived. And I think that's worth pursuing. I think that's worth undertaking, and I think that's worth thinking about. Thinking about how much and how I need to show up, that if I had a camera crew follow me around 24/7 for a week, that they'd go, this is a man of his word. This is a man who not only says it, he walks the walk as well as talks the talk. It's something to aspire to, I believe. Now, if you want to start that journey and you want to see who you can be, let's start with your health and fitness. Let's start with building some discipline. Let's start with building some grit and determination. Start there. Shoot me a message. Let's get you into Chasing Greatness Daily. Let's begin the fucking process and see who you can become during that journey. Now, as always, if you aren't quite there yet, click the link in my bio, grab my top 10 tools to transform your mental toughness. And lastly, as always, if you enjoyed this, if it spoke to you, if you know someone else who needs to hear this, please like, comment, subscribe, and share, because the majority of people who are watching this are not subscribed, and I need your help. Because like everything in Chasing Greatness Daily, I am here every single day. Rain, hail, or shine, sharing this message, sharing the lessons as I go through it, sharing the pep talks and the conversations that I need to hear, so I'm hoping that you need to hear as well. So I'll be back again tomorrow, and I want to see you then. So hit the subscribe button. We'll talk soon.